Odesa, Ukraine's largest Black Sea port, appears at first glance to be well on the way to reclaiming its traditional role as a center for international trade and commerce. Despite post-Soviet economic collapse elsewhere in the country, the center of Odesa is decked with the trappings of economic success. Western boutiques and private shops dot nearly every major street, a rare sight in Ukraine outside the capital, Kiev. But behind the colorful facades hides decaying housing and widespread poverty. Like the rest of post-Soviet Ukraine, Odesa is deep in debt, and sources of income to city coffers are hard to come by. This 79-year-old woman, who calls herself Grandma Polya, has been living in a dank one-room flat without a toilet or heating for 35 years. Life has become progressively worse since the Soviet Union broke up, she says, to the point where her diet consists of bread and tea. Odesa's city leaders say the city has to capitalize on its proximity to the sea to survive. Their plan is to set up an economic free zone in the city's port areas, with the aim of giving tax breaks to attract foreign investors and create jobs.
Одесситы сделали очень многое за 2 века. Ведь они построили чудесный город.
Odessaites have accomplished a great deal in 2 centuries.
В пустынном месте.
They've built a wonderful city in an empty land that didn't even used to have trees.
Свободной экономической зоны.
We hope that we'll be able to create an economic free zone. The rest of Ukraine has been at a standstill. Odesa hasn't even been given a chance to flourish.
Украины Одессе тоже ходу не давали.
With over 1 million residents, Odesa is Ukraine's 5th city in terms of size and probably 1st in terms of potential for economic growth. In its favor, Odesa is perched on a strategic port area and has a rich history as an important Black Sea trade center. Tradition holds that Odesa was founded on September 2nd, 1794, by decree of Russian Empress Catherine the Great. It rapidly grew into the Russian Empire's 2nd port after St. Petersburg, and today welcomes about 4,000 ships each year. Odesa also became a cultural hub for many different ethnic groups, particularly Jews. At the turn of the century, Jews made up 1/3 of the city's population. Despite economic hardship for the majority of city residents, most say they firmly believe the city will pull itself out of economic murk by virtue of being Odesa. The families living in this building are helpless as the wiring and drainage systems crumble. But when asked whether they would move to another city to better living conditions, they shake their heads and laugh. Who would leave the best city in the world? Residents say the key to understanding Odesa, its residents, and their ironic sense of humor is to look back at the city's roots.
Одессит — это национальность. Вот такая сложная национальность, возникшая за 200 лет.
Being an Odessaite is like having your own nationality. Odessa developed over 200 years like Americans appeared in America. People from many countries emigrated to this empty shore. French, Turks, Greeks, Jews, Ukrainians, Russians. Everyone together built the Tower of Babel, which didn't fall down.
Некую Вавилонскую башню, которая не разрушилась.
During the city's 200th birthday this month, residents turned out in force to stroll in the sun and just feel good about being from Odesa. Despite its relative youth, Odesa is rich in history and tradition. A statue of Odesa's first mayor, a French nobleman known as the Duke, overlooks the Potemkin Steps. These steps were immortalized in the silent film classic Battleship Potemkin. As Odesa enters its 3rd century of existence, many hurdles remain before it can regain its former glory as a booming port town. But if the spirit of the people who live in Odesa has anything to do with its rejuvenation, it most surely will. This is Lita Politz reporting from Odesa.